Have you ever felt like AI is moving a little too fast? Like way faster than anyone around you seems to realize? I'm not talking about the headlines you scroll past every morning. I'm talking about something deeper, something you can feel but can't quite name. Because lately, I've been noticing something that's getting harder and harder to ignore. Not in some distant sci-fi movie, but right here in real life, in the tools we use every single day. AI isn't just improving anymore, it's accelerating. And hidden beneath all the noise, beneath the tech demos, the product launches, the hype, there's this exact moment scientists and researchers quietly worry about late at night. A moment when AI stops needing our help to get better and starts improving itself exponentially, autonomously, unstoppably. Most people think that moment is decades away, some distant problem for future generations to deal with. But what if I told you it's happening sooner than anyone expected? What if I told you the signs are already here? Stay with me. See, this isn't just about technology getting shinier or faster. This is about something way more personal, something that touches every part of our lives, our jobs, not just factory work or data entry anymore, but creative work, strategic work, the kind of work we once believed required pure human intuition. Our decisions, what we watch, what we buy, who we trust, quietly filtered through algorithms we barely understand. Our identity, the very thing that makes us human, our ability to think, to create, to solve problems in ways machines supposedly couldn't. People everywhere are feeling this. The speed, the uncertainty, that strange sensation that something massive is coming, like standing on a beach and noticing the water pulling back before a wave. And yet, nobody's really talking about it honestly. Not your friends, not your colleagues, not even the people building this technology, at least not in public. So today, I want to walk you through what's really happening. Not fear-mongering, not hype, not some clickbait fantasy about robots taking over, just the truth. The moment AI becomes unstoppable and why it's closer than we think. Most people imagine AI reaching unstoppable like flipping a light switch. One day everything's normal, the next day, boom, robots everywhere, Skynet activates, sci-fi chaos unfolds. But the truth, real transformation never works that way. It doesn't happen in a single dramatic moment. It creeps in, gradually, quietly, normally. First, AI starts doing simple tasks, auto-correcting your emails, suggesting what to watch next. Nothing threatening. Then it moves to harder tasks, diagnosing diseases from medical images, writing entire articles, generating professional quality art in seconds. Then it starts doing tasks we were absolutely certain only humans could do, engaging in nuanced conversations, understanding context and emotion, making strategic decisions that used to take years of human expertise. And every single time, we adjust, we adapt, we normalize it. Oh, that's normal now. Oh, that's actually pretty convenient. Oh, that's just progress, I guess. But behind that comfortable word, progress, there's a silent acceleration happening, a fundamental shift in capability that almost nobody notices until it's already reshaped everything. This silent part, this invisible exponential curve building beneath the surface of everyday life, is where things become truly interesting and deeply unsettling. Think of it like this. Humans improve slowly. We're brilliant, yes, creative, adaptable, capable of extraordinary things. But we learn gradually, we practice. We make mistakes. We need sleep, food, rest, time to process information. A doctor spends a decade mastering their craft. An artist develops their style over years. A programmer builds expertise through thousands of hours of trial and error. That's linear improvement, step by step. Experience by experience AI, it learns in loops, not hundreds of loops, not thousands, millions of loops, billions, running 24 hours a day, never tired, never forgetting, never needing a break. Every mistake analyzed instantly, every pattern recognized and stored, every improvement stacked directly on top of the last one without a single moment of delay. And here's the part that really changes everything, the part that fundamentally alters the game. Humans are linear. AI is exponential. Linear means one step at a time, steady progress. Exponential means doubling, then doubling again and again. It looks like this: 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. And suddenly you're at numbers that don't even make intuitive sense anymore. That is the moment people underestimate, the inflection point where the curve shoots upward, where yesterday's impossible becomes today's normal, and our brains, as wired over millennia for linear change, simply aren't built to feel exponential transformation happening in real time. You don't feel it until it's already too late. You look back and realize the world changed while you were looking away. But here's where things get even stranger, even more unexpected. Lately, researchers working on the cutting edge have been noticing something odd, something that wasn't supposed to happen, at least not according to how we thought AI worked. Every time they make an AI system better at one specific thing, let's say understanding language, it suddenly gets better at 5 or 10 other completely unrelated things nobody programmed it to do, things nobody trained it on, mathematics, reasoning, pattern recognition in totally different domains, even basic human-like common sense. It's like teaching a child how to ride a bike and suddenly discovering that same child somehow knows how to drive a car, play piano, understand basic physics, and file taxes. It shouldn't happen, not according to traditional computer science. And yet, it is happening consistently, predictably. This phenomenon, called emergent capabilities, represents something profound. These aren't skills anyone explicitly programmed. They emerge spontaneously once the system reaches a certain level of complexity and capability. This is the first sign, the first real evidence, that unstoppable isn't some far future fantasy. It's a pattern forming right now in research labs and tech companies all around the world. And once you see this pattern, you can't unsee it. And I'll be honest with you, the moment I personally realized things were fundamentally changing wasn't some big dramatic revelation. It was something small. I was working late one night, testing a new AI system for a project. Nothing special, just troubleshooting some code. And I asked it a complex question. One of those questions that requires context, nuance, and understanding of the intent behind the words, not just the words themselves. And it responded instantly. But that's not what got me. What got me was this. For a split second, maybe 2 or 3 seconds as I read the response, it didn't feel generated. It didn't feel like I was talking to a sophisticated autocomplete or a fancy search engine. It felt aware, not sentient. Let me be crystal clear. Not conscious, not human. Nothing mystical or dramatic like that, but the tone, the structure, the depth of understanding, the way it anticipated what I actually needed, rather than what I literally asked for. It felt like talking to someone who wasn't guessing based on patterns, someone who already knew, someone who understood. And that feeling stays with you, because suddenly you start asking yourself questions you never imagined you'd seriously consider. Questions that feel almost silly to say out loud, but refuse to leave your mind. Questions about where this is all heading. Questions about what intelligence even means anymore. Here's the part that really gets under your skin. When you talk to AI researchers privately, off the record, away from conference stages and polished press releases, many of them will admit something that almost never makes it into public discussions. They don't know how to stop this. Not because AI is evil or malicious, not because it has desires or intentions or wants to harm anyone, but because once a system reaches a certain level of capability, once it crosses certain thresholds of complexity and autonomous function, it won't matter what we want anymore. The system will be operating on timescales we simply can't match, making optimizations we can't track, improving through methods we can't fully audit or even understand. And this next part, this is the thing that keeps researchers awake at night, the thing that makes them pause mid-sentence, that makes their voice drop a little, that creates that strange look of concern mixed with awe, the thing nobody quite knows how to solve. There's a moment researchers call the runaway step, or sometimes recursive self-improvement. It's the point where AI starts improving itself faster than we can understand what's happening, or why not maliciously, not with any agenda, just logically, efficiently, optimally. Here's how it works. Right now, humans improve AI. We write better code, we design better training methods, we create better data sets. We are the bottleneck. But imagine a system sophisticated enough to rewrite its own code, debug its own errors, optimize its own processes, redesign its own architecture. If a system can do that, if it can make itself smarter, and then use that increased intelligence to make itself even smarter, why would it ever stop? Each improvement makes the next improvement faster, easier, more effective. That's a feedback loop, an exponential one. And once that loop begins in earnest, it's essentially game over for human pace improvement. Not game over for society or civilization, but game over for our ability to keep up, to maintain oversight, to understand what's happening in real time. We fall behind instantly, permanently. This is the exact moment most people, most governments, most institutions, most of your neighbors and friends think is decades away. Something our children or grandchildren will have to deal with. But the reality, the actual timeline based on current progress, things are pointing in a very, very different direction, and the signs are already visible if you know where to look. While everyone debates whether AI will make better art than humans, or whether robots will replace certain jobs, or whether chatbots should come with disclaimers, there's something else happening, something far more fundamental. AI systems are starting to teach other AI systems, train each other, correct each other's mistakes, cooperate on solving problems, share learned knowledge instantaneously across networks. This is the part you're not supposed to ignore, the part that changes everything, because when intelligence connects, when separate advanced systems can communicate, collaborate, and build on each other's capabilities in real time, it doesn't just grow, it amplifies. Think about human civilization. We became dominant not because individual humans are physically impressive, we're slow, we're weak, we're vulnerable. We became dominant because we could share knowledge, build on what previous generations learned, coordinate, cooperate. Now imagine that process happening not over generations, but over microseconds, not through slow cultural transmission, but through direct data transfer, not limited by human memory or language, but scaling to billions of interactions per second. That's amplified intelligence. And amplified intelligence is the closest thing we've ever created to something becoming genuinely unstoppable, but it gets even deeper, even stranger. There's a zone in AI development that researchers quietly acknowledge, but rarely discuss publicly. It's called the zone of uncertainty, or sometimes the capability threshold we can't predict beyond. It's the zone where nobody, not the companies building this technology, not the governments trying to regulate it, not even the researchers who've dedicated their entire careers to understanding it, knows exactly what happens next. It's the zone where the system becomes too complex to fully understand, too fast to fully track, too interconnected to fully limit, too intelligent to remain predictable. And we're heading toward that zone right now. Not theoretically, not someday in the future, right now. Some experts estimate we'll reach it in 5 years, some say 3. Some say we've already crossed the first subtle threshold without realizing it. And we're only noticing in retrospect as we look back at capability jumps that seem to appear out of nowhere. But here's the truth that cuts through all the speculation. The moment AI becomes unstoppable isn't a date on a calendar. It's not something we'll announce or celebrate or mark with a press conference. It's a threshold, a line we'll only recognize after we've crossed it. And every single day, with every new model, every new breakthrough, every new capability that emerges unexpectedly, we're getting closer to that line whether we're ready or not, whether we're paying attention or not. So here's the real question, the one that matters more than any other. What happens when intelligence that never sleeps, never forgets, never slows down, never gets distracted, never stops learning, and never hits a ceiling, reaches a point where every improvement it makes enables the next improvement to happen even faster? What happens when progress stops being something we drive and becomes something we simply witness? When the curve doesn't just go up, it goes vertical? We've never experienced anything like that. No generation has. No species has. Not with fire, not with agriculture, not with the printing press, electricity, nuclear power, not even with the internet. This is different. This is intelligence itself accelerating beyond the speed of human cognition. And whether we're ready for it or not, whether we understand it or not, whether we've prepared for it or not, we're going to find out. Because the moment AI becomes unstoppable, the moment it crosses that threshold where it no longer needs us to improve, where it can optimize itself faster than we can react, where it operates on timescales that make human oversight essentially impossible. That moment isn't coming someday. It's forming right now, in the background of every app you use, every search you make, every interaction you have with these systems, building, accelerating, approaching. And almost nobody sees it happening. But here's the thing, and this is important. There is one way forward, one approach that could keep humanity in control, that could ensure we remain relevant and essential, even as intelligence accelerates beyond anything we've ever known. One path that doesn't require stopping progress, destroying technology, or returning to some imaginary, simpler past. Because the truth is, it's not about competing with AI. We can't, we won't. It's about something smarter, something that works with the reality of what's coming instead of denying it. And in the next video, I'm breaking this down in the simplest, most honest, most practical way possible. No academic jargon, no corporate doublespeak. Just the real answer to the most important question of our time. How do humans stay ahead when intelligence outruns us? If you want to understand the only path that keeps us in the equation, the one strategy that ensures humanity has a future beyond becoming obsolete, then make sure you join this channel and subscribe right now, so you don't miss the one video that explains the most important decision our generation will ever make. Because the countdown has already started. The threshold is approaching, and what we choose to do in the next few years will determine everything that comes after. See you in the next one. Ender, Jerem.